Mr. Chairman, and good afternoon to you, Mr. Horowitz. Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for the work you've done. Thank you for the investigation that you've overseen here today, and thank you for the report that you've made. I'm very struck by the report that you made. 500 pages, 17 months of investigative work, 1.2 million documents, including over 100,000 text and instant messages, and interviewed more than 100 witnesses, many on multiple occasions. Am I correct that your findings as it relates to this Clinton email investigation is that the decisions that were made, the findings that were made, the investigations that were conducted were not negatively, the outcomes were not negatively impacted by the biases of any individuals?
Correct. The decision was, our conclusion was that the decision of the prosecutors was not the result of political bias based on the evidence we reviewed.
Thank you. I am very disturbed about the behavior of many people in the FBI, starting with Mr. Comey. I find his ego exceeded his ability to discern right from wrong. I am very concerned about those individuals that had negative things to say about either one of the candidates. And I am very concerned about what I think was the failure of the leadership in the Justice Department, who seems to me to have been intimidated by Mr. Comey and not pushing back on him and not holding him accountable. Having said that, I'm tired of this discussion. I thank you for your findings. I would like for my committee, the Oversight Committee, as well as the Judiciary Committee, of which I get the chance to sit today but do not belong to look at the issues that are impacting the safety and security of our nation, our reputation, and whether or not we should be using tax dollars to try to figure out why the President of the United States of America, his administration, are doing things that are so un-American as to rip children and babies from the hands and the hearts of their parents and putting them in cages. We've seen in our history 2 times in particular that we should be so offended by. The first was slavery, when we ripped families apart and wouldn't let parents be parents to their children or wives to their husbands. And then during the World War, when we took Japanese Americans and we put them in internment camps. We have seen what this kind of behavior has done in the world when we saw what Germany did to the Jews. And now we're doing it in the United States of America. And I need to understand why my colleagues who've been elected to Congress to protect and preserve this Constitution, this republic, and this nation is sitting silently by while we consistently observe this un-American activity on behalf of this administration, coming from this administration, and their complicitness in this and their silence. I want to know why we haven't used our taxpayer dollars and our responsibility here to look at the constant violations of the Emoluments Clause by this president and his family, and how they consistently are intermingling their desires to get richer and richer and richer with our safety and security with other nations. I want to understand why my colleagues here in this room, in this committee, in the Judiciary Committee, and even in Congress are silent as we become enemies to our friends and friends to dictators. Who are we? We are better than that. I want to say that if we were going to utilize our good time, our communication to the nation, our exploration of what's right and what's wrong, what's going on, then we've got lots of opportunities from an arrogant, dismissive Secretary of Homeland Security who has not a heart in her to a president who doesn't even read the material before him. So I am feeling very discouraged by where this committee has taken us all day long. I am very discouraged by what my colleague, Mr. Hakeem Jeffries, referred to as the antics of the cover-up caucus. And before I yield back, I just want to say that we are the people for whom this government has been organized. It is of us, by us, and for us, and the people must have the final word here. Pay attention. I yield back.